This is Optimal Living Daily. Everything is my fault. And I love being wrong. Both by Derek Sivers of Sivers, that's SIVE.RS, and I'm Justin Malik. Happy middle of the week Wednesday, and welcome to Optimal Living Daily, or OLD, one of a few shows where we read articles to you. Today, 2 articles actually, so with that, let's get right to them as we optimize your life. Everything is my fault by Derek Sivers of Sivers, SIVE.RS. I used to get mad at people. They lied, they betrayed me, they disappeared. Do you hear the pattern? They this, they that. When someone upsets you, it's human nature to feel it's their fault. But one day, I tried thinking of everything as my fault. I created the environment that made them feel they had to lie. I mistook their neutral behavior as betrayal. I made it more appealing for them to disappear than to communicate. It felt so good to think it was all my fault. This is way better than forgiving. When you forgive, you're still assuming that they're wrong and you're the victim. But to decide it's your fault feels amazing. Now you weren't wronged. People were just playing their part in the situation you helped create. What power! Now you're the person who made things happen, made a mistake, and can learn from it. Now you're in control and there's nothing to complain about. This philosophy feels so good that I've playfully decided to apply this rule to the rest of my life. As soon as I catch myself blaming anyone for anything, I decide it's my fault. The guy who ran away with my investment? My fault. I should have verified his claims. The love of my life who suddenly dumped me? My fault. I let our relationship plateau. Don't like my government? My fault. I could get involved and change it. Doesn't that feel more powerful? Try it. Maybe instead of fault, you prefer the word responsibility, but the idea is the same. Think of every bad thing that happened to you and imagine that you happened to it. I Love Being Wrong by Derek Sivers of Sivers. Most of the time, I feel smart, successful, and driven, like I've got it all figured out. But last month, a bunch of stuff knocked me on my ass. I've never felt so wrong. I vulnerably called on friends for help. They gave me a bunch of good advice and helped me see things from a new point of view. Each different perspective made me feel good for a while. Then I fell back into the whirlpool of destructive thoughts. Whenever something has gone wrong in my life, I've asked myself, what's great about this? Usually I find an answer, but this time my only answer was nothing. This just sucks. I tried asking it again every day or two, but the answer was the same. Eventually, I had an epiphany. I actually love being wrong, even though it cracks my confidence, because that's the only time I learn. I actually love being lost, even though it fuels fears, because that's when I go somewhere unexpected. I pursue being wrong and lost in small doses. I love little lessons that surprise my expectations and change my mind. If we're not surprised, we're not learning. So I finally figured out what's great about this. Getting knocked on my ass made me humble as hell. It had been years since I'd called for help. It had been years since I was so open to advice. I smiled, thinking of how much I'd learned from my friends this past month. I realized how ultimately happy it makes me to be so empty, even if it really hurts at first. It's better than thinking, I've got it all figured out. You just listened to the posts titled, Everything is My Fault, and I Love Being Wrong, both by Derek Sivers of Sivers, that's SIVE.RS. And I'll be right back with my commentary. Good taste is easy to spot, but hard to pin down. You know it when you see it. With your car, you want something sophisticated and daring, yet classic, approachable, but with an air of opulence. That's where the Range Rover Evoque comes in. The Range Rover Evoque is charisma in motion, art and craft in equal measure. Its exterior is a quietly bold expression of Range Rover DNA with a floating roof, continuous waistline, and three-dimensional grille that give it a captivating character. Inside, you'll find a calm, minimalist cabin anchored by a tactile gear shifter where clean lines, sumptuous materials, and advanced technology come together. Make a statement in the Range Rover Evoque. This elegant SUV elevates every drive, offering a new dimension of refinement and luxury. Whether you prefer a modern aesthetic or a warmer, authentic appearance, the Evoque's interior can be tailored to your taste. Ready to experience sophisticated design and premium materials in motion? Explore the Range Rover Evoque at LandRoverUSA.com. Thank you to Derek. A little secret is that I've narrated these before, but it was back somewhere around episode 100, like 8+ years ago. So I'd be shocked if you remember it or have been listening that long in the first place. If you have been listening that long, do let me know because that would be amazing. Anyway, back to the posts. Both of these are really simple ideas, but not easy. Both are basically shifts in mindset and how or what we're thinking when things don't go like we'd want them to. When things aren't going well and we get ourselves in a spiral of negative thoughts, thinking everything is my fault, or what's the silver lining here, or what's great about this moment is really, really difficult and takes practice. But I do think it can be done, especially with smaller things early on. So, for instance, maybe you get cut off in traffic. You can blame yourself and say maybe you were following the car in front of you too closely. Or what's the silver lining? Well, you just got practice at avoiding an accident, and you actually did avoid an accident. Those can be seen as great things. So doing that for something smaller might change your perspective, but then the more you do it, the more likely you can have a positive twist on bigger issues in your life. So hopefully you found these posts helpful, and I hope you're having a great middle of the week. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.